Everyone that comes into that opt-in, believe it or not, I think as a builder, we should be treating that as an opportunity.
This is Craig Preston, Director of Resident Developments, an award-winning residential building company fulfilling clients' dreams here on the Gold Coast.
If you're specific about what you want to do with your career, then that's what you're going to attract. For me, second story additions allowed me to press into something that I'm very good at, but saying to yourself, I'm going to specialise in one particular part of what we do, for me was very nervous time. The thought of not making myself available for every other opportunity was quite scary.
In this episode, Craig shares his story of deciding to commit to one niche, how he did it practically through marketing, and ultimately has since scaled his business to create a comfortable lifestyle for him and his family.
Had to create a good mindset and trust the process, which we can get into, about niching into second story additions. So what my business looks like at the moment is we do 6 to 8 second stories a year, and we build one new house a year despite being special in second stories. That's because the customers that we see in our second stories rave about us to their friends and family.
Craig, thank you very much. Really appreciate you coming in.
Thanks, mate.
Also want to say a big thanks for coming in end of last week, Thursday, Friday.
Yeah.
Popped in and you caught up with Rich and caught up with me, and you gave us all hugs, which is pretty special. And yeah, man, we really appreciate just the open, honest feedback you gave us. That's really, really, really appreciated.
No worries, mate. Yeah, it's good.
Because we don't always get to hear of the good stuff going on until sometimes we ask or we catch up with the guys. But to have someone come to us and catch up and say, hey, this is going really well and this and this and this. So thank you very much for that.
That's cool. But rest assured, if it's going the other direction, you'll hear about it too.
Well, I would hope so. Most certainly. Well, I'd hope that we be catching it before you do, for sure.
You would, yeah.
Craig, why don't maybe to kick things off, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, and
sure. So Craig Preston, we have a small residential building company here on the Gold Coast. We specialise in second story additions and major renovations. Yeah, awesome. A small family team, 2 of my sons, another chippy who runs things with me, and another apprentice. When my daughter's not having babies, she's in the office helping me out, so I'm keen to get her back. That's pretty cool. Yeah, it's great. It's good fun.
Good family.
Yeah.
Good family business. And what was it that led you down? Because we often talk to our guys about niching, and it's important, and we help our guys to understand. I think often guys get boxed in thinking that to niche I have to do it like this. I have to choose renos, or I have to choose new homes, or I have to choose, and they can sometimes box themselves in quite small, but that's not necessarily the case at all.
No,
but when it comes to you and your niche, which I find really cool, I think it extends past what you just said there in terms of second story additions, and we'll dive in deeper to that. How did you land on this niche? And what was that evolution like?
Great question. So niching's nervous. So saying to yourself, I'm going to specialise in one particular part of what we do, for me was very nervous time. The thought of not making myself available for every other opportunity was quite scary. So having done second story additions for the better part of my career, and I guess when you get past 30 years, you can call it a career. I trained as an apprentice doing second stories. When I started my business, we did second stories.
And when you say you were doing second stories, it was just one of the things amongst many different projects?
Well, as an apprentice, a couple of guys that I worked for, that's what they specialised in.
Right.
So getting their knowledge and taking that to the next level and implementing that into my business, and then starting my own business and making that one of my offerings, but realising I wanted to do everything. And, after 10 years of doing everything, you get a bit tired and you want to be certain of what you're good at. So despite the fact that I think builders generally, we're good at whatever we choose to put our minds to in terms of building. So it could be a brand new house, it could be a custom home, it could be high-end, low-end, renovation, a second story, a ground floor extension. I think as builders, we train to do every part of that project and that process. But for me, second story additions allowed me to press into something that I'm very good at, and the competition, I guess, whilst other builders can do what I do, the way that we present ourselves is the competition isn't as great. So it's not that we want to take advantage of that, but moreover provide that point of difference in our business and for what we can do. So second story additions was naturally where I landed, because that's what I've done for so long, and I believe our team are very good at it. Yeah.
And what was it that you said it was? There was fear involved.
Oh yeah.
Going down and niching.
Yep.
What pushed you to go? Actually, you know what? Let's do this. Let's niche.
Yeah. So I did try other areas, and I found that difficult. But I guess knowing what I know about how to do second stories, there was a lot more confidence in the industry as well. There was a lot more available opportunity, I guess. Yeah. The inquiries were there. And if you're specific about what you want to do with your career, then that's what you're going to attract. So there's lots of really good builders that you guys work with that just do custom homes. Yeah. And that's the market that they attract because they invite that. Yeah. So I guess my mindset and my marketing is geared to attracting people. So had to create a good mindset and trust the process, which we can get into, about niching into second story additions. So it was a little bit of fear because am I doing the right thing? Like any business, you work out your numbers and you go, I need to turn over this amount of money to make this sort of income. Yeah. We've got a bunch of kids and a mortgage like most other families, and that all comes into the equation. So if second story additions only produced one project a year, I'd be out of business. Right. But we developed a system and a process to invite that inquiry very specifically. So our inquiry isn't someone who wants a pergola or a carport or a swimming pool. And believe it or not, we don't get many new custom home inquiries. They're all, because we're being very specific in a niche, we're trusting that the market will respond to what we're offering. Yeah.
And with you specialising in this, how many of those second story additions do you guys now do a year?
Between 6 and 8.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, and that's cool. That's for us.
That's perfect,
Without growing the team any bigger and having been in business for a lot of years, like 30 plus, and growing a business and having a business partner, all of which was successful, where we're at right now is good for us. Yeah. So we, with your help, from a strategy point of view, we're scaling our business and we're implementing lots of processes and procedures and bringing experts on board to help me with that, because one person can only do so much. Yeah.
One thing that I'm always impressed with you when it comes to just everything, the niche, and I see a lot of, I'm keen to hear your thoughts on this. This is an outsider's perspective, is your passion and joy of fine-tuning your sales process and your communications with clients. And that's where I was saying earlier, your niche maybe on a surface level is second story additions, but I feel like your secondary, if that's your primary niche, your secondary niche is that service orientated mindset when it comes to helping clients, communicating really well with them. Where does that come from?
Being transparent and delivering something that you promise you're going to deliver is really important. So I guess the word integrity. So if you create and building trust with customers, so whatever field a builder is in, developing trust, and it'd be good to talk about how we develop that trust, but building and developing that trust with the customer is super important. For them to capture relatability, the heart that you've got for their family. I think, did that answer your question?
Yeah, for sure, definitely. Going back to that, you said let's dive in more into trust. How do you go about working and establishing that trust? Because I know that's really important for you, establishing the trust first before things go anywhere.
For sure. So we've developed a sales process with you guys as well. And there's a bunch of stuff happening. So developing that trust comes even before I see the people, and often before I even speak to them. So they'll be seeing what you guys have helped me put together on social media across all platforms. They'll be speaking to me and sending me inquiry, and then they'll be seeing my video that we've put together, just a story video about me, my heart for the business, my heart for my family, my heart for other people's families. They'll be seeing that before I speak to them. So we have created a bit of anticipation in the customers that come to us, who are very specific about what they want to ask me questions about. So yes, I'm very intentional about being honest, and I'm very intentional about developing that high level of trust with people on the telephone and even when I go out to see them.
Yeah. You were telling Rich and I the other day about that first meeting you have with someone. Let's say the system that we set in place, the outcome being bringing you an ideal client. Then that first consultation that you have with them, you rock up and you don't even bring your tape measure.
No.
What's behind that?
Well, that just says to people, I'm not here to measure you and give you a free quote. I'm here to meet you. It's an attitude test, and I don't mean to be rude about that. But and I often use that. I say to families and mums and dads, this meeting is about an attitude test. So we're going to know by the end of this 45-minute conversation and walk around whether you feel good with me, whether you feel comfortable, and whether I do as well. It's a two-way street.
Yeah.
And then I affirm to them that the decision they're going to make with the biggest investment of their life should be based on a relationship. Is this guy, first impression, someone that you feel that you can trust and work with?
Yeah.
So I intentionally spend a lot of effort to be sure about what I'm going to promise and communicate that.
Yeah, definitely. That's awesome.
I guess the message I'm trying to communicate to the people that I go and see is that we are a small family business based on the Gold Coast, specialising in second story additions and major renovations. In the first instance, you want to get clear with the customer or clear with the people that we go and see that you're going to get that relationship right and that you're a good fit, because we can work with nearly anyone, but you've got to make sure that they're the right fit for your business. And
for sure,
I pride myself in being able to meet with people, connect with them on their level, and try and meet their needs, whatever's necessary. And we love what we do. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we see that, definitely. We see that in working with you and in the case studies that we've created and we'll create. We constantly just hear only the most amazing reviews, and people just not only value the final home that you've created, but the transformation that they've had in their life because of you, as well as the relationship that they really, really appreciate and trust in you.
Yeah. And so you talked about case studies. How good are they?
Amazing.
So we just finished another one.
Yeah.
And so Ty and Gemma, we just did a second story edition, and their story, which I hope we'll distribute soon. That's just incredible. But, their gratitude, and isn't that what it's about? Getting gratitude. So I really enjoy people being grateful and appreciating what we do for them, because we do. We pour a lot of heart and soul in it. We get up early. We bend over backwards to make things happen. And Ty and Gemma wrote a beautiful testimonial for me, handwritten, on the last day we were there. Everyone, all the boys, got them a carton of beer, and it was just so grateful. But she couldn't talk because she was so choked up.
Wow.
Husband, awesome. She said, please don't open that now, I'm going to cry more. So how cool is that?
Yeah. Wow.
And we've got some customers that I'll be introducing you to soon in Reedy Creek. They don't want us to come yet because they haven't painted the outside of their house. So I gave them a price to paint the outside of the house. They just weren't ready, and they said, Craig, we'll do it ourselves. I said, yep, that's fine. And no, we're not ready. We're not painted. Yeah. And then it took 2 years for you to go down to Byron Bay to see Tanya. Do you remember that one?
Yeah.
How good was that? And
that was a powerful story.
That video is amazing.
That just goes to show, I think, because some builders have the fear of asking a client for a case study, will they say yes to doing it? I think if you act ethically and you do amazing work and you really have a huge impact on the people that you're helping, often I feel like builders underestimate the impact that they've had, because that is consistently the response that we get from our builders' clients. It's like, no, I want to make sure it's perfect for you because I know how much this is going to reflect on you, and you've done so good by us. I want to make sure that we do really well by you. Yeah.
So guys, first time looking at this, definitely it's a story video so that you can share that with prospective clients, and then reach out to these guys with the social media stuff. That's super important. And again, it's a leap of faith. And it's a negotiation with you boys to make sure that it gets right. And then at some point when finances are right or when the situation's right, get some of those case studies, which are videos for finished jobs. It's just perfect.
Big time. A lot of guys have been through some challenges over the last couple of years. What have you found? You've been through some of your own challenges over the last few years.
Yep.
What have you found to be some powerful tools to get you through?
So the biggest one, JP and Richard, is hard work. You cannot avoid hard work. So I don't believe if you want to succeed and if you want to grow your business, you have to be part of the business. Doing what we do. We're residential builders. We're a small family business. So therefore, we've got to connect with people because we are family, and we're not laying on a beach and just, pointing the finger. And you gain respect from the people that work for you. And that does have a ceiling. So that does limit my business growth. Yeah. But that's the business model that I like. Yeah. So I think at the heart of everything and the core, it is hard work. So you will be the one writing the notes on a Sunday afternoon, when you're just chilling out watching a footy or whatever. And I'm okay with that because I enjoy my business. Yeah. Hard work.
Yeah, I like that.
Hard
That's
work.
Good. Listening to a guy recently who was talking about that concept. He says a lot of young guys that are in his business, when they're having a bit to say about, this is really hard, or I don't know, X, Y, and Z, he just says to them, this is what hard work feels like.
Yeah.
And he finds that's actually a really good reset for them to
go,
good. That's okay then. It's not, because I think sometimes there's that self-doubt and self-belief going, I'm not getting this right, I'm failing at this. And so it comes out as, this is a waste of time because they're not seeing results as fast as we do.
Yep.
We all, as fast as we'd like to see results, as fast as we get results, we punch it in Google. But yeah, this is what hard work feels like.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's a good reset, like you said, JP, but it's also a responsibility of that person, the builder, and the culture that you want to create in your business, that if you care enough about them, then you're going to take the minute to say to this kid, whoever it is, this is what hard work feels like. And I'm next to you, I'm beside you, and I'm going to nurture you through this training process with the expectation that you're going to be a contributing human being in the future. Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, the other day you were in here giving us hugs.
Hugging up.
And hugging up. That's good. And you talked, we were joking about, a little while ago, a few years ago, we created that first overview story, the resident development story. And then you put that in place, used that. What was the impact that you saw from that initially?
It was awesome. So again, that was a leap of faith.
Yeah.
Just like you said, my nerves about niching, it's nerves about this leap of faith into whether it's video or social marketing. So
how long ago was that?
I looked back, I think it was 2018, so 5 years.
Yep.
Yeah, so 4 or 5 years ago, I began the journey with you guys, and actually I didn't have a lot of so I've only been on the Gold Coast since 2016, and all my work before that was in Sydney in the Sutherland Shire and Eastern Suburbs, and we brained it. You create a brand and create awareness and the work just flows. That's not the case, obviously, if you move to a brand new area. And JP, we're getting repeat business now, and we build one new house a year despite being specialist in second stories. That's because the customers that we see in our second stories rave about us to their friends and family. So some of our repeat business is new homes every year, and we love it. We really enjoy building new homes for people. It's very exciting.
That's a good example of that project going ahead purely based on relationship.
Yes.
Where your passion lies.
Totally. Yeah. And anyway, to get back to 3-4 years ago, that the leap of faith, so yes, there was an investment, but if there's not much in your pipe, I was really hesitant to spend the coin. And you guys were super fair with what you did with me. So Cornet in particular, he's seen my vision, and let me just say, all you guys see my vision. And I think from a marketing point of view, whether it's social marketing, video marketing, whatever, you need to work with someone who sees your vision, captures your vision, and is invested in you and your business. That's pretty big right there. So you guys have got that, and I'm eternally grateful. Like, my gratitude is massive. It's unreal. Yeah, so thank you.
Thank you, Craig.
So 4 years ago, I lent in, and I didn't have a lot of projects here, but you guys went above and beyond. So typically you'd go, right, tell me what project. And I'm like, dude, I don't have any projects. I've got 100 projects in Sydney. So what did you guys do? Flew to Sydney. Flew to Sydney, and you interviewed 3 or 4, 5 different properties, took amazing visuals, interviewed one of the architects that I'd worked with for 10 years. It was spectacular. And then the flow-on effect from that was amazing. And then I didn't see the traction from that until, again, you guys helped me implement. So, and I didn't know. You send me a video file. I don't know what to do with that. So, Craig, this is what you do. Okay. You create a link, and all you got to do is copy and paste it and put it here. And I did a poor job, but we got there. So I'm a little bit more savvy with that stuff now. Thank you very much. But I implemented that as part of my first touch of my sales
part
process.
Of our distribution program
Yeah.
gave you.
Yeah, and I've got an email that I send to people who have contacted me, and it's really important that they fill in we all use the word questionnaire. I call it an information request because some people don't like the word questionnaire. And then in that I say, fill in my information request and have a look at this video for you to meet me before you even see me.
Yeah.
And so for the last 3 or 4 years, I've been using that video exclusively on every inquiry I get. So when I go to see people, they've already seen me, they've seen the work that I do, they've seen me at work, they've seen images of me in my office, images of me on the tools. Yeah, so
In action.
In action, there's the word, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a leap of faith, and it created a buzz for my business to be able to interact with people before you even meet them.
Yes, as you mentioned, Craig, you jumped on board with us back in 2018, and we created the overview story for you. And then you were able to take that and implement it in a lot of places, which saw great impact on how people responded to you, and how those conversations then flowed on from that. I think at the time we discussed doing a bit more, but again, as you said before, that would have taken another leap of faith. Up until now, recently, been working together again, which has been awesome. What kind of caused you to take some time in between to then take the next step with us?
Well, I guess the time in between was me feeling that I had it sorted. But the reality was I was coasting or cruising, and that's good. For a spell, that was good for me. But you mentioned the word fence sitter, and I 100% was. And I think there was a little bit of fear of the investment, but there's a reflection now. There should have been no fear because, and I hope that what I communicate today, and if people want to get in contact direct, they can. But if you invest first, then you generate the leads. The work that you guys do to help me communicate what I do and my point of difference and my specialty or my niche is incredible. Yeah. So we were doing, just to digress, we were doing some SEO, as you know, with our website. And that's, again, my brother, he does that and he does it really well. And so that generated a number of leads, and that generated a number of projects, and that's been a great success. That coupled together with the referral business, it's been really, really good.
Yeah, awesome.
I'm looking ahead, and I'm thinking interest rates, and I'm thinking market, and there's an influx of people, and there's a ton of other builders here, and what's going to make me stand out, what's going to make me different. So I wanted to reach a greater audience and give me a better opportunity. So I'd rather be in a position to say no.
Yep.
So yeah, I've invested with you guys, and again, it was a leap of faith, and I just see the value is incredible. Yeah. So what got me off the fence?
Yeah, I'm going to ask you what got you off the fence, because you were sitting there for a while, and then a few months ago you said, "All right, let's do it." You came in, you and Zeph came in, we had a chat, and you said, "All right, let's do it."
So a few things. I was an avid subscriber to your podcast, and now I'm rewatching them, believe it or not, from 3 or 4 years ago.
Oh, yeah, wow.
So it's really cool. I'm in my office and I listen to some music or I listen to podcasts, and your content is business focused and people focused. But for me, so that was the first thing that I was continuing my development as a human, but also as a builder to get better.
Yeah.
And you guys with your podcasts are helping with that training. The second thing was JP's generosity. Craig, do you want to come to a seminar, to a get together, and I'm going to pay for your ticket? And I'm like, yeah, I'm a tight ass. I'm in for that. So it's a free event. No, maybe I'm not a tight ass, but it's a free event. Yeah, I'm going.
Yeah.
So I had an opportunity to sit with a whole bunch of professionals. I got to hang out with Kurt, the builder's coach. I got to hang out with Hayden from Pricer Plan, and then I got to hang out with you guys.
Yeah.
And it was awesome.
Brisbane?
Brisbane. Yeah. It was an awesome event. It was so good, apart from the 2-hour drive home. Wow.
That traffic hit.
Friday. Yeah, seriously. Anyway, so yeah, that was good. And that just said to me right there and then, it's time to make that next leap of faith. So looking ahead, I wanted to grow my opportunities with the opportunity for me to say no if I wanted to. And so, again, because of the campaign that we've developed together, it's very specific. So therefore, the people that are coming to me generally aren't people that want a carport or a pergola. And I'm happy to build those things, don't get me wrong. But that's just not what we're seeking to keep, the wheels going.
Yeah. And how have you found, before you mentioned the process you used previously to having, I guess, the whole advertising campaign in place now and the follow-up process that's there, a lot of the steps were manual. So, for example, somebody came to the website, filled in your contact form, then that email communication afterwards, making sure they've seen your video, and then sending them the questionnaire you did have previously, making sure they filled that in. Now, a lot of that is already in place before you even see the name come through. Or at least when you do see the name come through, those next steps are all automated and to be happening. How have you found that transition in terms of affecting what you can now focus on, or the conversations looking different, or what's been the impact of that?
Well, obviously there's more opportunity there. So, look, we can talk numbers another time maybe, or when you think it's relevant, but the numbers are fantastic. As I mentioned before, the inquiry coming into the opt-in part of our Biz Video Amplify, it's popping. It's unreal. Yeah, it's really cool.
It's
popping, buddy. Yeah. And so it happens when I'm asleep. So for the most part, and again, this is education for me because I haven't really invested in social media marketing on any platform. Organically, passively in the past, yes. But again, the education from you guys was, whilst that's really cool, organic posting sees the people that have already liked your page. I don't have 1 million followers because I didn't and don't invest time into creating that presence. Maybe my young son can get into that for me in the future. Who knows what that holds? But so getting in front of people from a paid social point of view is just amazing. And the quality of the people that are coming in are people that are interested in what we do.
Something I want to commend you on and ask you some questions about is throughout your whole funnel process, we put multiple offers at different stages. So there's an offer, as you mentioned before, the opt-in offer, which is currently an ebook, which answers a lot of the questions of the market, but answering them in a way that provides them with an understanding of your service and values. A lot of people at that stage would see that as an opt-in, but not necessarily an inquiry until they get to progress into the questionnaire, which is then very involved process of really getting clear understanding of the project. But something you do a lot of is still seeing that as somebody who's definitely interested in your product, and being able to reach out to them and follow up with them and just start that conversation. I kind of want to split those aside because some people might see that as, oh yeah, that's someone's interested, but they don't want me to talk to them yet. I'll wait for them to come to me. Whereas you dive straight into
we do have some builders, I think, that maybe aren't as proactive, or I think maybe just their mindset is they and their perspective is, oh, that's just a looker. I think many builders have been burnt in the past by tie kickers and the negative lookers and stuff like that. But you have a perspective, like Rich said, where that person that has, kind of like when you walk into Harvey Norman, this is the example I sometimes give, and someone straight away goes, I can help you. And like you've just stepped in. And so your knee jerk's going to be, oh no, I'm just looking. But then 5 minutes after looking at the product that you know you're going to buy, you're now trying to find someone to help you, to ask maybe some fine-tuned questions.
For sure.
And so you look at that person walking in, looking as a very likely potential prospective client.
So my question is, having that proactive approach, calling those people, having just the open conversation of, first of all, thank you for your interest. I hope you found value in what we were able to provide. Is there anything that I can help you on? How have those conversations looked?
Really good. And people haven't hung up on me. So what I've found, and we've had a great result for just 1 month. We've been happening for 5 weeks. It's just been fantastic. And I was very purposeful. I didn't know which way to go. Do I ring them early? Do I ring them late? Because if they're coming from the website, they've been very specific. So I ring them within 24 hours. But when they're coming through social media, that's at 10 o'clock at night or 5 o'clock in the morning. So I didn't want to impose on them. So I give that a little bit longer, 48 to 72 hours. And why I do that is because you've created such a specific marketing campaign. People who are opting in for our e-brochure or the information book, they're seeking to be educated. So it's a really informal conversation. So I do ring everyone that opts in. Now I've had phone numbers that go nowhere. I've had probably 50% of them go to an answering machine. And as I mentioned, I do one more thing, and I follow up with a text message. Hi, it's Craig from Risen. I've just missed you on the phone call. I really appreciate you checking in with our e-brochure. Let me know if there's anything I can help. Yeah. And then you guys, I can put that in my notes and come back to it.
That's one thing I really want to commend you on. When you came here on Friday and you showed me just some of the things that you've done with that follow-up, and some templates you've created for emails and a template you've created for texts. Phenomenal. Because it means that you can respond much quicker, and it's not taking the time out of your mind and day when you're trying to do other tasks.
Totally.
And it just makes you look that much more professional. And the consistent complaint we hear from, let's say, the market, prospective clients for our builders is the lack of response time, or the duration of inquiry through to follow-up and having a chat. And I think the industry norm is like a week or so before someone comes back. So when you're coming back to them in 24 to say 72 hours.
And just for an opt-in as well.
And just for an opt-in,
information request is...
See, not everyone understands what an opt-in is, Richard. So it's really, for you guys, an opt-in is... That's the first step, and it's natural.
So it's not necessarily an inquiry; it's an information request.
That's right, but see, for you, that's your natural response. But for me, as a business owner, with the investment that I'm making, everyone who comes into that opt-in, believe it or not, I think as a builder, we should be treating that as an opportunity. So,
for sure.
And it does vary from business to business. I mean, I don't know what your numbers are, but you probably can't ring 1,000 people a week. Whereas we're being so specific about what we do, we have to lead on. And look, I had a really good chat with another fellow the other day, and he said, no, Craig, I'm in the industry. And he took the time. He said, I was just reading your brochure. It was awesome, mate. Good luck. And I just said, thanks, mate. I appreciate the feedback. And if there's anything you ever need, just let me know.
That's brilliant.
To someone
that's just growing your network and community.
That's great. Yeah, it really is. And there's lots of people that, and again, part of the process is with the questionnaire. So just know that I don't get in my car that afternoon and go and see everyone that says, I want to see you. There's a sales process which we've developed. And
that's why we have the questionnaire in place as well.
It's fantastic.
So you don't have to start from scratch, have a conversation. You can qualify immediately by seeing the answer to the question and then take the conversation from there, depending on what they've said.
And that's largely automated.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
I think it's important to differentiate what that opt-in is, and you mentioned that.
Yes.
I often describe it as someone who goes, hi, I really like what I see, but I'm just not ready to talk to you right now for whatever reason. Not ready time-wise, or I'm just apprehensive. So I'm just going to stand back. And so but what they saw has caught their attention. And we're very big on articulating the problem that they're trying to solve and position you as a solution. So therefore, it should give you and our builders confidence to know, this person is attracted to that problem that they have, therefore they have that problem likely, and it needs solving. And they see you being a fit for that. It resonates with them. But they're potentially at a very early stage, and then it's about putting it into the system that Rich is the master at creating. And then nurturing. It's
important to talk more about that, because we're 1 month in or 5 weeks in, and the people that have said no are still going to get a little touch from me in 4 weeks' time.
What we spoke about last week is people that are just in that early opt-in stage, you picking the phone up and talking to them, even if they are not ready yet to progress, they now know that they've started a conversation with Craig from Risen. So now when we spend the time to keep nurturing them, and they do get to the stage of, okay, I'm ready to progress, contact a builder, they're familiar with, actually, I've already started the conversation with Craig. So much more likely to come back to you versus starting scratch with someone else.
The communication channel's open. You're the authority. So if they have a question, it's like, I don't know I'll just call Craig.
I've already spoken to him, and I know a little bit about him. He's spending the time getting touch points from him. So.
And the education that we are providing them as a team, Biz Video and Risen Developments, is phenomenal. So even when somebody says no, like you said, they're still getting educated over the next couple of months. And I think it's important that people see me as the authority at second story additions and major renovations. Second story additions, we were very specific. And Richard, you had to change some of your what do you call copy?
Initially we had a good conversation with that, where you were very specific on niching, as you mentioned before, which is ideal. And initially we were thinking, let's start a bit broader and test first. And you said, no, let's let's start specific straight away.
Yep.
And we're happy to do that. But in the back of my mind, I was thinking,
oh yeah, you were nervous.
I was like, okay, we can do that, but it's, it's a smaller market. It's going to be a little bit more expensive. But, as you said before, 5 weeks in, we've seen that, although, it's a smaller market. And we were going through the report the other day, and I was explaining to you how clicks are slightly lower than what we see average-wise, but the inquiry that we're seeing is above average for the first month. And the reason for that is the market's smaller, but the people clicking through are the ideal people that we're wanting to attract to your solution. Yeah. That was a big, just again, reminder to me on the importance of niching. Because I think naturally you always want to go as wide as possible.
Just that safety. Yeah. You tell yourself it's safer to go wide. Yeah. Throw the network wide. Maybe we'll catch something in there.
I think people talk about low hanging fruit, and to be honest, when you niche, you don't want low hanging fruit. You want to, and I've said this to you guys before. You want to be able to reach into that tree, and you want to pick that piece of fruit that's right for you, and that takes skill from you guys and from where we develop as well.
And even better if that tree is your tree and you're the one watering it and fertilizing it, and then you get to pick it.
That's a great analogy. Yeah. But having trust in you guys is important to me. And I'll mention this. I mean, I'm a follower of Christ. I'm a believer in Jesus. And to come into a business where you all are, it's pretty refreshing. So for me, the investment was coming to trusted hands. And there's going to be a lot of people that are, a conjecture, but I don't force my beliefs on anyone, but it speaks to my truth. And so if your truth and your values and your culture is aligned with me, then the success is there. So it's really cool. And I'm grateful, guys. Really good.
Awesome.
You talked about the emails that I've created. And that's because I spent some time thinking about not having to think. So response time from your podcast, okay, that's education that you're putting out there for free. The response time's super important. So no matter whether your inquiry is coming from a referral, which is probably your highest priority as a builder, that someone's been referred, you do your process. You have an interview with them, you have a conversation, do the questionnaire, and if they're the right fit, you go and see them. But you would always ring someone back. It's super fast if that's a referral. And then, as I said, the website stuff, they're specific. So I've got a time frame that I've created for my business. And then the social stuff from the opt-in, I get stuck into that there. And then within your BV system, I can create reminders. So I have, through working with Kurt from the Builders Coach, created a daily diary over the week. And I've just did that in Google, and every week I switch it on and I see what I'm doing today, and there's a big list of things, and that keeps me on track. So I've got a specific day that I follow up. Yeah. But to help me with that timing, if someone calls me on the phone, I don't have time to fuss around. I haven't got time to send an email. But what I do is I stop, I save their number, and I send them a text with our link to our questionnaire, depending on where they came from. And then I follow that up, create follow-ups within your system. It's fantastic, So I've got 3 or 4 different emails sitting in my drafts that I just copy and paste with the links included, ready to go. And that just creates my efficiencies so that I can get things done, dusted, and away.
Yeah, you were showing me that the other day, and it was really good to see. Just obviously we try and do as much as we can, but then there's so much more that you as the builder can also do, and you've gone over and above to keep trying to push it.
I think you have to be. Yeah, awesome. You need to be proactive in your own business. Otherwise, you can only do so much. It's not your responsibility to grow my business. It's your responsibility to execute what we've agreed to, and you're doing a great job.
Yeah. Awesome. That's that kind of reminds me of a conversation that we've kind of had internally a bit recently of just with a few shifts that we're seeing in the market, and we spoke about this briefly before. More so in the higher end market, we're seeing a bit of hesitancy there, but it's still so important to be communicating a builder's message into the ideal market, because we want to keep reminding that market of this particular builder in any level of budget that they're working in, so that when that market is ready, they're so much more familiar with this builder. But a big thing I think in this space of where I am with digital ads is there's a bit of a belief out there, I think, where it's like, if I start digital marketing, people decide to build. But people aren't deciding to build because you're marketing. The market's still the same size. They're just now getting to know who you are in their decision making.
Yeah.
So we need to put those things in place so they can be as familiar with you as possible, so that when they, in their own time, are making the decision to progress, it's you're the one that they are progressing with, versus somebody else that's putting that time in. We can't necessarily turn the switch on for people making that decision, but we can put you in front of them when they are ready to make that decision.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And if they opt in, you can start a conversation.
Yeah.
You can introduce yourself.
Yeah.
You know, I said to someone the other day who was just asking, they might have been a little bit negative, and I said, I'm just a fella with a small family business having a crack. And they resonated with that. And that's the truth. Awesome. You know, there's no lie about that. It's really, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that family approach, as we were kind of saying off the podcast before, brings so much, and that's a lot of the messaging that we want to try and continue to bring through is just reminding people, just like them, you're also a family man, down to earth. This is just your business.
And most builders are family men. Well, all builders are. We're all got a family.
Yeah.
And an individual builder's ambition will determine their growth, and power to the guy that wants to do, 20 mil or more, and power to the guy that's happy just to cruise on a mil. You find what you're good at and you enjoy that process, and it's all about, enjoying the journey, innit?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
When we originally spoke, a couple of months back, when you came back on board, and there were the things I would have outlined to you, this is what we're going to do, this is what we're going to help you with, this is what it will look like. But now working with us, what have been maybe some of the surprises when it comes to having us in your corner?
That's a great question.
You had some great feedback in terms of having Rich in your corner and some of the conversations you guys have had. But what does that look like, and what do you appreciate most about it?
Okay. I think collaboratively as a team, Biz Video are amazing. So you meet, you collaborate, and you get the synergy as a business and a team going for all of your customers. But then you've got JP, you handle your part of the business, and Richard, you handle part of yours, and Denzel's behind the scenes over here doing his part of the business. But if I say to Denzel, how much is it going to cost for a video? He's going to go, dude, you're talking to the wrong bloke. Talk to JP or Cornet. I said to Richard the other day, we know, I've just finished another project. Let's get that sorted. He goes, actually, you need to speak to JP about that. So, there. So you do have very specific roles in the business, which are fantastic, because you don't try and solve each other's problems. You are very specific, like me, with my niching in my business. You're very specific about what you do in Biz Video's business. So the value that brings to me is not only do I get to give all a big of a hug every time I see you, we get to drill down on the specific needs for me, and it's not generalised, it's very specific. So when you and I talk about the social stuff, and I've been back and forth, in the Biz Video Amplify system you guys developed, you've customised my row of tabs to suit how I want to see it flow. That was no drama. A couple of emails. And then you've helped me, I didn't know how to create the links easily. So you said, Craig, here's the links, copy it to your notes, copy it to your draft in your email. So now I've got access to the link, copy, paste, rename them, put it into a quick text, and away it goes. And I can do that within 3 minutes because of the help. So that, I didn't know that was happening. And some questions around how to speak to people JP's helped me with. So it's been really, really helpful. The hidden value add, you guys don't realise it. And again, I came on a leap of faith, and you don't realise the value that you bring. Well, I didn't realise how much value was in my investment until awesome. I'd started. Yeah. That answers your question well enough.
Yeah, that's a beautiful answer.
It's pretty cool. Look, I just love working with you guys, and it's a buzz every time I come.
Yeah.
You say block out an hour. I'm like, no, I'm blocking an hour and a half, 2 hours, because, I'm a great talker, but you just I leave my meetings with you on a cloud, because I know my business is tracking right, and I know Richard behind the scenes, and you said this, you're testing ads. I didn't know that. I didn't know how many ads you're running. I guess I did, because I had to sign off on them. But I approved and sat with you and created the content and the ads, as you call them, and the copy. But you're the person who's sitting there monitoring it. And I would have been frightened now had I not known that you were screening and scrutinising. So you've added ads and you've taken ads away.
Yep.
And then I've seen lots of stuff happen, and then all of a sudden nothing happens for maybe 8 hours, and then all of a sudden it starts happening again. And I'm almost certain it's you in the background going, oh, we'll do this, we'll do that. The magician. Yeah, that's right, eh?
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of that. And that's also why we consistently introduce new ads, is because, for multiple reasons, but especially now in the first 5 weeks, we're starting the process of understanding what is this market interested in.
Yeah.
So then month by month after that, we can keep growing and understanding what's already working, and then understanding how can we improve on that message. And then that's where the testing comes in. And there's just multiple levels then of testing, like ad topics, ad creative, but then the audiences that are seeing it. And then it's important to keep putting new ads in, as I said, to optimize, but also to keep the audience engaged. So as we continue to progress the retargeting audience that we're growing, that's our most important audience, because those are the guys who have engaged in any way. That's an audience we want to keep engaged because they're most valuable to us. But to do that, it's important we keep putting new content in front of them so that they keep staying interested.
So Richard, you're going to have to explain to builders watching this, what's retargeting? Honestly. So there you go. That's such a good question, because dude, I know I open Facebook, I see an ad. You know, great. I download a brochure and that's it.
Yeah.
Or someone visits my website. You've just done this recently. And I think for $3 a month, when they visit, Richard's put something on my website that says this person's visited. Let's retarget them. $3.
Yeah, combining a few different things there.
I've loaded him up. But hey,
explain that in more detail. So what we were talking about the other day in the catch-up is your website has a Facebook pixel on it, which tracks anybody that visits the website.
Yep.
So that's tracking anybody that's visiting your website.
Yep.
And as that audience gets larger, we can retarget people. So that means showing up again to people who have first seen you with multiple layers of points of interest. So what we were talking about the other day is you run a lot of blog posts.
Yep.
So we can get traffic to that blog post very cheaply versus somebody who's trying to inquire. That's always just going to be more expensive because it's a very small market. But people who are wanting to read about building is huge. So we can get traffic to your website to read the blog posts very cheaply at $3 a day.
A day. I was happy with $3 a month.
Yeah, just to clarify that one. But then what that means is we're now sending all of this traffic extra to the website, which we can then retarget on the consult offer to everybody that's read a specific blog post. And then we can begin to make that offer of that consultation specific to the blog post that they read. Yeah. So I think most recently your website created a blog on building your ideal coastal home on the Gold Coast.
Beautiful.
So a lot of that language that they're now familiar with by reading that blog, now when they see a consult offer or information request, the ebook that we spoke about before, with language familiar to the blog post that they read, one, it's going to be, we know it's interesting to them because they have read the blog, but also it resonates with what they already understand about Risen. So that retargeting process becomes so much more specific as we get more data on any point of engagement that somebody's taken with your business. And then that's just talking about the website side of things. There's all sorts of other points of engagement outside of the website on Facebook and Instagram, which videos they've watched, how they've engaged with any particular post. Yeah, it goes on and on.
So did you guys get that? So I've got to tell you, builders in the world, you don't have to get it. You just have to know that it's happening. You don't have to know that your carpenter's a good carpenter. He just has to deliver a good product.
Yeah, exactly.
And, you know, that synergy, and you've been talking with, and it happens to be my brother that does my website.
And your SEO.
And my SEO. And that's really big for me. And I do spend a little bit of money on that, as you know. But he does all that. I don't worry or fuss. Richard at inetdigital.com.
Well, and the cool, you got two Richards working on your marketing.
I forgot that. Yeah, your brother's name, Richard as well.
Yeah,
we've spoken about this a bit as well, and it's so powerful. And I think this again speaks to why we've had such a great impact so soon. Is because prior to come on board, you've already spent so much time in getting the business out there.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a snowball effect then.
Yeah, you're right.
When you add something to that, it progresses so much faster.
Yeah.
But the benefit of you doing so much on SEO and now Facebook and Instagram is that both can work with each other. So say, for example, your website's ranking for second story edition Gold Coast. The benefit of that is that you're getting traffic now through Google when people search that term. Sure. However, when people do search that term on Google, it's also going to rank you with other people who are ranking for a similar term.
Yeah.
So from that perspective, in a way, it's a bit of a shelf. But like on a grocery store, lots of items to choose from. There's not necessarily yet an understanding of unique difference until they get over to the website and they start reading. But now, with that extra traffic coming to your website, we can retarget, as we said before, Facebook and Instagram. So every time they jump back on social media, that familiarity and unique understanding of Risen is so much more powerful because both aspects are piggybacking on each other.
It's wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't do the blogs, as you know.
Right.
But they're sitting there in the background.
Yeah.
And it's purposeful.
Definitely.
I think everything we do with our marketing is purposeful.
Yeah.
And with cause. So
Yeah, I think it's very important. I think the great thing is you're working with two teams that you trust and have your best interests at heart.
Yep.
But it is important that, when you're doing marketing, and that's something we always come up with when we're talking to new builders, is, I've tried marketing and it didn't work. And it's because they've tried this in isolation or this in isolation, or they tried maybe multiple things, but it was disjointed. But like Richard said, the reason why I think it's working really well for you is because of everything you're doing is congruent.
Yep.
And it's working together.
Look, I don't know what your answer is to this question. It's off script. A buddy of mine, a buddy of mine is got a year and a half, 2 years work in front of him, and he's like, "Why would I want to invest in that?" I'm like, "Dude, you got to go and see these boys." And he's been in to see you, and I'm not sure where he landed.
Yeah.
He's an amazing builder. Him and another one of my best mates. They are the best craftsmen ever, top builders, and all his work's word of mouth.
Yeah, right.
But it's about, yeah.
Well, the system that we're building for you and for our guys, it's also there, like you said, it's to attract that person, and the person that does come to you, it's putting them into a system where they can be nurtured long term. Whether they want to talk to you in 2 months' time, or in 2 years, or in 5 years' time, it's that essentially it's building a client bank. It's growing your tree and seeing those blossoms or little seedlings become little fruits, and then you seeing them grow. So even if you've got a year, 2 years booked out, we've had builders that come to us that got 2 years booked out, and they just go, "I just want security, I want the pipeline, and I want to have more control of the type of person that's coming to me." Better educating, because often the person coming to you, they can be really good, but they just lack education. Like Kunay and I were chatting the other day about, is there such thing as a bad builder, or just one that's uneducated? And so often, yes, there are sometimes some bad clients out there, sure, but often it's just there's a lack of education, a lack of information that they've had available. So if you can take responsibility for that with help to then position the right information in front of them, you can then mold that person to become more in line with who you'd like them to be.
And I would add as well, in that position of say 1 to 2 years of work to come, that's, I would say, is the best time to be marketing, because now you can spend that time, as JP's saying, nurturing the future from that, and then picking from that the best clients. Especially in the building industry, it's such a long-term decision for the average person. It's, as you mentioned before, it's the largest investment they're going to make. So to be marketing from a perspective of, I need clients tomorrow, no one's making a decision tomorrow. So being able to have a pipeline of 1 to 2 years currently in place, and then spend that 1 to 2 years building the pipeline for the future, that's what we need in the market, in the building industry for marketing, is because the decision time frame is that long a lot of the time. Usually at least 3 months. A lot of the time it's a lot longer term for most people, because they have the idea of, I want to build, but I'm only going to be able to afford it in a year's time. So by getting their interest now, getting them to your system now, when they're then making that decision in a year's time, you're the builder that they have built that year of building trust with.
And even I'd add to that is, we help a lot of our guys trying to track someone to come talk to them first, to then manage through the preliminaries and designs, so they can better budget manage the design phase, or one of our clients calls it value manage, because the build might only come in 6 months or a year's time, but then you're the one who's had the relationship with them from the beginning.
And you want to build that. You want to develop the trust, create the opportunity, and be the first person in the door. Or even if whatever person you are in the door, they're in a relationship with you, if you like, before you start. And create a pipeline that includes them in that throughout the whole process. You mentioned about builders that might start tomorrow. Anyone who's competing in that market is competing on price, and most of us don't want to do that, because most builders know how much value they bring to a project, and it's really important that your customers believe in you and understand that the value you're bringing doesn't come, I've seen an ad in the paper, I'm going to go for that one. That's not what we do. And I would say that most of the guys that are listening to this sort of stuff are not that sort of builder. So Yeah, investing in your long-term pipe super important, and you're right, you can choose. And there's fear for a builder around you bring in a client in 12 months ahead of a schedule. I've been working with some people, the longest one so far since 2021, and we've had 4 redesigns and 2 change in preliminary agreements, but they came in and they've learnt from me and trusted me, and COVID was happening and all that sort of stuff. So we're still in the design phase and we're getting approvals at the moment. But that's something I've had nursing that for 2 years, and now it's a April 2024 project, which is really cool. You don't become complacent on that.
And they've probably got immense trust with you.
Yeah. Like absolutely. Yeah. But I'm looking ahead, and I want to create awareness, I want to create opportunity, and I want people not to be ringing me saying, can you start tomorrow? I want people to ring me and go, Craig, can you work with me, and we'll see where it goes from there. And often the people that ring me, JP, they say, look, I actually don't know anything. I just know that I need more space. And I'm like, well, you've rung the right guy. This is what we specialise in. And how can I help? When do you want to get together?
Awesome. And that's such a big kind of message that we try and bring into, especially the consultation offer. Is making that list of value of why they should schedule or request a consultation really relevant to somebody at any stage of making that decision. So it's open to somebody who, as you said, doesn't even know where to start. They know, okay, this is the step I can take to get clarity on what to do next. But somebody that's further along the lines and maybe they've already gone and got designs themselves, that list of benefits is still very beneficial to them because they clearly understand what does that next step look like, Craig. And then from there, they have the full questionnaire. So again, it's not... those questions can be answered by anybody at any stage. Versus, I think a lot of especially classic websites have the normal contact form, and a lot of the time there's hesitancy to fill that in because on one hand somebody doesn't necessarily know what to put into a blank box, so they go straight to price. Or they only feel like they can do that once they have education on what they should be putting in there. So that loses a whole section of the market that are wanting to talk and get clarity, which we can now be bringing through to you because they cool. feel open, like, oh, Craig's going to give me the answers that I'm looking for.
So you want to get in front of people before they've got plans. If you put a system in place and put a system in place that you're connecting with a draftsman or an architect group. So for me, people who come to me with plans, I'm less excited about than people who don't have plans. But there was a time when I didn't have the pipe that I would have to go because I needed to put food on the table for the kids. But, a leap of faith, here we are. And we're having a chat.
And what's the future look like, Craig? What's the future look like for Risen Developments? For you, the team, the business, the clients? For me, it's not about business growth. It's about scaling the business. So I've been able to meet a whole bunch of guys, and particularly on that day you took me to. I think those training days are really good. I met a fellow, Dan, from Exact Accounting. He helped me understand what 2% on your margin does to your business overall. And the industry kind of tries to dictate what that should be, but also Dan helped me understand what my overheads were, so therefore I'm pricing more accurately in strategy. Wonderful.
What my business looks like at the moment is we do 6 to 8 second stories a year. Sometimes 2 of those are taken up with a new home, but it's about turnover. So we're trying to scale our business in a modest way to create a lifestyle for my family and the guys that work for me and work with me, so that we're not working as hard. We're working on projects that we enjoy, working on projects that deliver the right margin. So not necessarily competing on price, but competing on quality and opportunity of what we do. So we're on track to meet our target this year, and moving forward with the help of you guys and some other people, as I mentioned, implementing new systems to free my time up, which is really key. And you guys talk about that. You've chatted with Dan from Exact Accounting. You've chatted with Hayden from Pricer Plan. Again, they're all leaps of faith, because this is the stuff that I love and nurture in my business. I don't want anyone else telling me about my money. I don't want anyone else telling me how to price a job. But if you don't get some help and understand what they've done for you, I think that's really important. So just to sidetrack, the training and education you guys provide me, not only at an initial but an ongoing basis, and remembering, from what I understand, we've got a monthly review. So we come in here and sit with you every month. So I'm getting educated, and we're redefining my goals at the same time. So there's mentorship involved, all of that as well. So looking ahead, we're on track to hit what we're targeting. We're seeking to implement new systems, bring other people, consultants in to help us with our business growth. It's exciting. Yeah. All the time, still doing around about the same amount of work, but working hard. Don't forget, you got to work hard.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. No, well, Craig, big thank you. Thank you very much for coming in today and being so open to share your journey and how things have been going and where things are going as well.
Thanks, mate.
Pleasure. Thank you.